Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Unlocking Insight into Australia's Urban and Rural Built Environment webinar, brought to you in partnership by Esri Australia and MapData Services. My name is Laura Berman, and I'm the Technical Director here at Esri Australia. Now, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for joining us here today. The aim of today's webinar is to introduce you to the Geoscape Initiative, a collaboration between PSMA and Digital Globe, which provides a new baseline data set for buildings across Australia. Think of it as the new GNAF for buildings. We will provide you an overview of the data set, which includes not only 3D building attributes, but also land cover and tree heights. And we will show you how this national data set can negate the requirement to collect, purchase, and/or integrate disparate and inconsistent data sets. And finally, we will cover off on how you can apply Geoscape in your industry. Now, first up, I just want to reiterate, please do ask questions throughout the session. You can do this through the chat window, as we've shown here. And at the end, I'll make sure that there's time for us to go through those. In terms of the agenda for today, we're going to run through the following. Firstly, an overview of Geoscape. So a little bit of background, what you get with it, and also how it's captured. And in terms of applications, how Geoscape can be used in your industry. At the end, we will go through a session recap, and also there will be time for question and answers. Now, before I get started, I do want to take a moment to introduce you to our speaker. Tim McGuinness is a pre-sales consultant from MapData Services based in Sydney. Tim recently joined the team. However, he has over 20 years experience in all aspects of spatial data and systems. He's worked across varied industries, including mineral exploration, mining, and environmental studies. And this is in various locations around the world with North Limited and Ausenco. Tim has also undertaken business systems analysis and manage spatial systems with both local and state government agencies here in Australia. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome Tim. Over to you.
Thanks, Laura, and welcome everybody. Before we have a look at Geoscape, let's see how large-scale building level data was traditionally captured. If a business required building polygons or footprints, they were generally not available for purchase, especially outside Australia's capital cities. What businesses generally did in this case was to acquire up-to-date high-resolution aerial photography or satellite imagery. That imagery then had to be processed, rectified, and placed into real-world coordinates. Each building then had to be painstakingly hand-digitized one by one. As you can imagine, this took a long time to complete and was very expensive. If actual heights of buildings or trees were required, then traditional photogrammetry techniques could be used, paired with stereo imagery. The advent of LiDAR capture provided a faster, more cost-effective method to capture height information, but due to the need to use aeroplanes, it was also very expensive. The large amount of 3D data captured also required specialized processing to differentiate bare earth from structures and trees. If surface cover or roof material types of information were required, then businesses would need to obtain multispectral imagery, where different vegetation, structures, and even material types could be distinguished by analysing the various visible and non-visible wavelengths, such as infrared. Obtaining the imagery is just the start of the process. Specialised remote sensing software is required to categorise the features, and then it must be quality assessed. In summary, businesses were required to spend a large amount of money and time to obtain building level information. The problem is that once the information is captured, it starts being out of date immediately, especially in Australia's fast-growing urban and coastal regions. Moving forward, the acquisition of building level data will be much easier. Let's meet Geoscape. PSMA Australia offers authoritative national location level data sets, which underpin many business solutions and government services. Each foundation dataset provided by PSMA provides a standard national coverage. Some of the core foundation datasets provided by PSMA include GNAF for address data, CADLINE for cadastral and property boundaries, administrative boundaries, including state and local government boundaries, electoral divisions, and suburbs. Transport and topography. The transport component includes a national network of road, rail, and airports. The topography component includes a hydrology theme of rivers, lakes, and dams, and a green space theme of parks, gardens, and reserves. Although the foundation PSMA datasets provide answers to many different questions, there's always one question that's been really difficult to answer. What is an address? The release of Geoscape now provides an answer to that question, and it will now become the next foundation dataset for Australia. PSMA has partnered with Digital Globe, one of the world's leading providers of high-resolution imagery. Their satellites can collect over 3 million square kilometres of images per day. Digital Globe is capturing new multispectral satellite imagery for their geospatial big data platform to automatically extract building features, height, roof material, and other attributes for Geoscape. The TomNod crowdsourcing platform has been used to gather information for incidences, such as the search for Malaysian Airlines MH370 and the recent Christchurch earthquake. This platform will use to crowdsource the location of swimming pools in order to fine-tune automated methods of capture for Geoscape. Elevation models can be used to define man-made structures and trees. These can easily be found by comparing a digital terrain model, which shows the bare earth surface, against a digital surface model. A lot of processing still needs to occur in order to handle situations such as buildings that are too close together or trees that go over the top of buildings. The DTM provides the floor elevation of the building, and the height of buildings and trees can be calculated by the difference in height between the DTM and the DSM. On the left, you can see a basic satellite image, and on the right are the Geoscape building polygons and surface cover. By using multispectral imagery, machine learning algorithms can automatically determine the type of roof material, such as tiles shown in orange or metal shown in purple. It's also easy to see the different vegetation types in the surface cover dataset, such as the grass in light green and trees in dark green. Here's an example of swimming pools and solar panels identified by crowdsourcing using TomNod. Geoscape will provide a yes/no attribute on the building to define if these are present or not. To do this across Australia by crowdsourcing will be a monumental task and would take months, if not years. The human results can be compared with automated results in order to fine-tune the algorithms and provide fully automated capture methods in the future. So let's have a look at the contents of Geoscape. So Geoscape will principally contain a building polygon, the base elevation at the centroid, a 2-metre surface cover raster dataset, the planning zone, yes/no if there's a swimming pool associated with the building, the average eave height of the building, the roof type, whether it's tile or metal, for example, the roof pitch or complexity, so if it's a steep complex roof or a flat roof, a tree height raster, the maximum height of the building, yes/no attribute if there's a solar panel, and it also has links to the GNAF address dataset, the CADLINE cadastre and property dataset, and the ABS mesh blocks. So let's go and have a look at a demonstration of the Geoscape data. So I'll just pull this up in ArcMap here. So it's showing the surface cover 30-metre data at the moment. So we zoom in, and you can see that becomes quite pixelated when you zoom in. So in urban areas, I'll have a 2-metre surface cover data set. So you can already see it's already picking up building levels. So you've got categories such as bare earth, road and path, grass, trees, built-up areas, water, for example. So I just turn on the building polygons here, and we'll have a look at some of those. So each building will have its own ID, a date it was created, and importantly, the date the imagery was captured, that the polygon was taken from. We see the attributes for elevation, area, the maximum height, eave height, and here we come across the materials of the building. Yes/no for a solar panel, the shape of the roof, the type of the roof, the planning zone. And as we keep going through, you can see here are the CAD-Lite IDs, the GNAP IDs, and the property IDs linked to that building. And finally, a yes, no, if there's a swimming pool at that address. So it's quite easy to colour those buildings by the attributes. For example, here's all the buildings that have a swimming pool, and here's all the buildings that have a solar panel. Let's have a look at the roof shape. So flat roofs are shown in blue. The yellow shows the moderate pitch or complexity roofs, and a steep pitch or high complexity roof is shown in red. Let's also have a look at the roof type. So tile roofs are shown in brown, metal roofs in grey, flat concrete in green, and fiberglass or plastic roofs are shown in purple. If we turn on the tree raster dataset, you can see here are the tree heights coming in. And you can see it actually shows the shape of the tree. You don't just get a point for a tree, you can actually see the outlines of the tree. So we do some, I'll choose the tree layer here. So we can see that tree at the center is 24 meters high. And as you go out to the edge of the tree, down to 19 meters high. So I can provide a 3D shape of the tree. Let's go and have a look at that in 3D. So I've imported the geoscape data here into ArcScene, simply extruded the polygons of the buildings by the actual height, and brought in the tree raster dataset here to show the height of the trees. You can see it's quite easy to come up with a 3D visualization and see how the built environment is. This will be very useful for planning purposes. Let's jump back to the demonstration. Now, it's important to know that the geoscape dataset will contain differences in the capture of urban areas versus rural areas. Here's an example of urban versus rural capture areas. And you see most significant towns will be captured as an urban area, shown in blue. It's estimated that 90% of the population will be covered by these urban areas. In terms of the actual dataset, a rural area building will still be, the building polygon will still be captured, but it will only have basic attributes such as the elevation and the planning zone. You'll still get a surface cover 30-meter raster data, and you'll still have links to the GNAP and CAD-Lite and the mesh blocks. There are numerous business applications that may benefit from the use of geoscape. We'll go through some of these now. There are many locations such as schools, hospitals, industrial parks, airports, etc. that are located by just a single address. Geoscape will provide a base for accurate building level addresses to be compiled across Australia. This would provide benefits for navigation and deliveries, but also dispatch, workforce management, and emergency services. In particular, rural addressing will also benefit greatly by being to accurately locate residences on properties. Fire services will be able to determine the existence of solar panels prior to arrival at an incident. This will save time and ensure safety from potentially live electrical systems for crews. Real-time analysis of buildings at risk, such as bushfires in changing conditions, can be undertaken to determine evacuations and crew deployments. Post-incident damage assessment could be automatically captured in the field onto accurately located individual buildings. In terms of risk modelling, national flood and bushfire risk modelling is used by numerous government departments and private companies for risk management purposes. The existing risk models are only down to the property or address level only. With geoscape, the risk models could now be done down to individual buildings, providing a much more accurate assessment of risk due to natural disasters. The risk of individual buildings could be calculated for insurance purposes, and much more accurate estimates provided based on geoscape building attributes such as the roof area or height, the roof shape or type, if it had a tile roof, for example, if there was a solar panel or swimming pool, and the proximity of tall trees to the building. Commercial enterprises could easily target their marketing at properties that either have or do not have solar panels, swimming pools, particular roof types such as tiles. Property development companies could automatically locate properties with sufficient vacant area for dual occupancy or medium density housing. State and local governments will find many uses for geoscape, particularly in the area of planning. Compliance for enforcement activities can be easily targeted at new buildings and swimming pools in conjunction with existing or missing development approvals. Major projects could easily identify impacts on neighbouring properties, or undertake noise modelling analysis for buildings close to transport corridors or major projects. As the Geoscape dataset is updated over time, strategic planning departments could analyse changes in the number of buildings or density over time. As we saw in the demonstration, fast, inexpensive 3D visualisation and analysis of buildings and trees can be done for planning or assessment purposes. So how do you get Geoscape? Well, the preliminary release dates at the moment for Geoscape are as follows. Canberra, Adelaide and rural South Australia are anticipated to become available in December 2016. In March 2017, Sydney, Launceston, rural New South Wales and Queensland. June 2017, Brisbane, some Queensland coastal cities, Perth, Hobart and rural Tasmania. September 2017, Melbourne, rural Victoria and Western Australia. And areas not already captured will be completed post-September 2017. So Geoscape will be maintained and updated over time. PSMA will have a maintenance schedule put in place, commencing 2018. So it would have flexible maintenance regions based on a grid model. So it would focus on areas highest demand from the marketplace. So those areas that are high growth, a lot of housing going in, a lot of development will be captured more often. There is the potential for customer prioritization or tasking of individual areas. In terms of annual maintenance of Geoscape, it will include changes and quality improvements for all populated areas for buildings, updates to the outlines and heights, and swimming pools would be updated by automated capture. Surface cover would be refreshed for populated areas and also improvements in rural and remote areas. Zoning and building use would be updated nationally. But for rural and remote areas, there'd be less frequent updates, approximately 2 and 4 year update intervals. In terms of data supply, the data will be available in shapefile, geodatabase tab and Oracle formats. You can get extracts of subregions or individual data themes. They will be available also. If you'd like to evaluate the data, MapData services can organise access to the evaluation data that we saw from Adelaide. You can also get technical specifications and documentation. So I'd like to hand back to Laura for a bit of a recap on the session so far.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, so just before we step into some Q&A, I just want to quickly go through and recap our session today. So we introduced you to the Geoscape initiative. So this is this collaboration between PSMA and Digital Globe. We provided an overview of the Geoscape dataset itself, which is including not only the 3D building attributes, but also land cover and tree heights. And I think key to this is the national dataset really does negate that requirement to collect, purchase and or integrate disparate and inconsistent datasets. And finally, we'd covered off on how you can apply Geoscape in your industry. So now we'll go through a few questions. If you do have any additional questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat window or also the Q&A window you'll see on the taskbar. But Tim, I do already have a couple of questions that have come through. The first one, is TomNod crowdsourcing used for feature capture or for validation purposes, or perhaps for both?
TomNod was originally used in the evaluation capture of Geoscape. They captured in Adelaide the swimming pools and solar panels, and that was then used to fine-tune the automated capture. So it's anticipated that going forward, the automated capture will be the method to capture swimming pools and solar panels. It was more of a way to validate the machine capture of these features.
Okay. Now, in terms of the LiDARs, we've got a question around LiDAR. The question is, what is the resolution of the LiDAR captured?
I don't have that information to hand, but I can definitely find that out.
Okay.
PSMA uses the best available DTMs and DSMs. So in urban areas, if they have access to an accurate elevation model, they will use it. But in the rural areas, it's probably be using the SRTM data. But PSMA have used the best data that they can get their hands on for elevation and height capture.
Okay. Another question coming through, when will the Wollongong and Illawarra area become available?
In terms of individual areas within states, I don't really have that information yet. That schedule is only preliminary. We're still waiting on definitive dates and areas from PSMA. As soon as that information comes through officially, we can let you know.
Okay.
But I believe for March 2017, it was Metropolitan Sydney, and that wasn't including Newcastle or Wollongong.
Okay. Another one, is solar included in annual maintenance?
The information I have at the moment is maybe not. We're still waiting on the maintenance schedule. So that maintenance update information is preliminary. This PSMA is still working on what will be included and what won't be included in maintenance and how that will be scheduled. It's anticipated that subscribers will have information about which areas would be captured and when, but as that maintenance schedule is not starting until 2018, we'll wait and see what happens there.
Okay, we've got quite a few more questions, Tim, so buckle up. Will it be provided in GDA 94 or GDA 2020?
That's a good question. At the moment, it's provided in GDA 94. I'll follow that up with PSMA and I'll see what they say.
Okay. Yep.
Don't know about that yet.
Okay. What is the end user license agreement or the IP rights?
So the data's licensed, not sold. So there will be an actual license agreement. It's a subscription model, and there's various tiers of licensing. The data set can be provided in regions, such as a state or even a local government area, and you can request themes. So some companies may only want the footprints, others may only want the tabular data. So it depends what the end use case and what the company is that's getting that license. There'll be different license for commercial enterprises as opposed to research organisations, for example. Okay. If you've got any questions about that, I'd encourage you to contact us with your particular use case, and we can work out what would be required in terms of licensing and cost and things like that.
Okay, great. Another good question. The website promo showed highly detailed 3D roof polygons. Is this part of Geoscape, and how are these generated?
They're probably generated by the client software. So the data comes with the building outline and the eave height and the maximum roof height. So the software they use probably created those roofs automatically. So it would depend on your 3D modeling software if those roof shapes could be done automatically. I can't do that in ArcScene, for example. I could just extrude it to a flat roof. So you need a particular bit of modeling software, I think, to be able to do that automatically.
Okay. We've had a question come through. Will this recording be available online? Absolutely. It will be available via the Esri Australia website on the events page. Just at the end, I'll make sure I'll show you the link to that location. Another question that's come through, can it be published internally, so intranet, or externally as an interactive map?
Definitely internally. So the base license is for internal use only. I think there'd be different licensing levels if the information would be published, and it depends what's published. If it was just simply building footprints on a map, would be different to full access to attributes and things like that. So again, I'd say come and talk to us. Let us know exactly what you want to do, and in conjunction with PSMA, we can work out the best way forward.
Okay, thanks, Tim. That seems to be the last question that's come through now. I can't, before we sort of finish up, I can't ignore the beautiful mo that you're sporting at the moment. It is week 3 in November, so it's looking good.
Thank you. Cultivating a very beautiful moustache here for November. We've got a bit of a team effort happening in our office, raising money for a great cause. If you want to donate, send me an email and I'll send you the link to donate.
Excellent, Tim. Now, just before we finish off the presentation, I did want to give Tim a chance just to talk through a little bit around some of MapData services, other evaluated services.
Sure. In terms of Geoscape, MapData services can add value to Geoscape. So we could bundle the the other PSMA data sets such as GNAV, Catalyte, Transport and Topography, or the admin boundaries. Geoscape itself comes in multiple tables. It's a reasonably complex structure. So MapData services can supply a consolidated data set in your format that you need, ready for immediate use. We're also looking at providing Geoscape features and attributes via transactional web services. So we could also easily implement your business rules or logic to bring back specific results or ratings or other attributes to your internal systems or solutions by web services. In terms of MapData services' other offerings, we provide a large range of mapping data, from addresses, cadastre and points of interest, all the way through to advanced road networks and geodemographic data. We offer a wide range of products from desktop applications for geocoding, for example, through to base maps and web services. Our professional services, including data management and hosting solutions, can also assist your business. So check out our website or email us for more information on our mapping data products and services. Thanks, Laura. Back to you.
Okay, so what's next? So Tim has introduced us to a really innovative product today, so I definitely think the next step should be to see it for yourselves. So I encourage you to reach out to MapData Services and organise access to an evaluation data set. So we've got an email up on screen now. If you do have any further questions, please send them through to events@esriaustralia.com.au. And finally, if you do want to rewatch this webinar or share it with others, we will be putting a recording online, and here is a link to our events website. So thanks again everyone for joining us this afternoon, and we will see you soon for our next webinar.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks Tim.